Before you get started with delinquent tax investments, you must first define your buy box. Are you looking to acquire properties or just earn profit through interest? Do you want to flip properties or hold them? Where do you want to invest? Is there a certain type of property you want to invest in? Hey, by the way, how much do you want to invest? You may know exactly how much you have or want to invest. Great! But before you can answer many of these other questions, you must first understand the 3 investment types that are available to investors in this delinquent tax space. What's going to happen next is I'm going to take you through the 3 investment vehicles as it pertains to property taxes. Fair enough? A tax lien certificate, well, it's an enforceable first lien against the property for unpaid real estate property tax. So the certificate holder, you, is an independent investor who actually pays the tax for a property owner in exchange for a competitive bid rate of return on the investment. To redeem a tax certificate on their property, the property owner must pay the delinquent taxes, accrued interest, collection fee, and advertising costs to the independent investor. Redemption periods range from 12 months to 48 months, depending on the state. And if the certificate isn't redeemed, the investor may file to have that property sold at a judicial auction in order to collect any proceeds from the sale. Additionally, in some states, the investor can elect to transfer the title to their name and retain the property. Because the rights to this property are not immediately available, the investment threshold for tax lien certificates are much lower than that of the other 2 vehicles we're about to talk about. Tax deeds are the next vehicle we'll speak about, and the purpose of these tax deeds or tax deed sales is to satisfy delinquent property taxes. So this is accomplished through the sale of real property at auctions held by the clerk of the circuit court. The winner of the tax deed auction is awarded the title via a quitclaim deed. Depending on the municipality, the title can undergo a quiet title action to supply a warranty deed. There is no redemption period after the auction for this property owner to satisfy any debts. So, with the exception of the upset bid process, which exists in North Carolina, whoever is the high bidder on the auction day is going to get this title. However, there is a surplus function that allows the property owner to reclaim any surplus funds that exceeded the existing debt and liens on the property. I view tax deeds as the most liquid and quickest way to earn a return on your money of these 3 investment vehicles, and that's because the rights to the property are transferred almost immediately with no redemption period, and this allows investors to quickly flip or rent the asset and create cash flow. The last vehicle is a redeemable tax deed, and this is truly a hybrid of sorts. Similar to a tax deed sale, the rights to the property are being auctioned off, so the investment threshold is higher than that of a tax lien certificate. However, like a tax lien certificate, the property owner has a redemption period to reclaim the deed. To reclaim the deed, the property owner must pay the back taxes and associated penalties and fees to the county and therefore to the investor, which again is you. With redeemable tax deeds, the property owner does have a redemption period in which they can pay these delinquent taxes, the accrued penalty, the collection fee, and the advertising costs to the independent investor indirectly by paying the county first. If the certificate is not redeemed, the investor may transfer the title to their name and retain this property. Because of this, I view redeemable tax deeds as the most secure and profitable of these three investment vehicles. And that's because you can tailor your purchase formulas to guarantee that you're receiving the penalty fee at a minimum. Which vehicle do you think is right for you? Well, I recently read in The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller that if you're in the wealth accumulation season of your life, you probably want to invest to own. And I associate that most closely to tax deeds. However, if you're in the wealth protection season, you most likely want to invest to loan. And I really associate that to tax lien certificates. So as you can see, each investor has its own tolerance and thresholds. To help everybody research, now we need to identify how each state operates. Which states utilize tax deed auctions, redeemable tax deed auctions, and tax lien certificates? How do those states allow investors to pay delinquent property taxes, and what do those states pay in interest or return rates to their investors? So the most important question here is, how do the states reward the investors for paying these delinquent property taxes? To help everybody research this, I've created a website. So to get your free list of states that offer risk-free investments with huge returns, just send me a message that includes your email address. And if you want, we can also talk specifically about one state or another via a scheduled phone call. Now that you understand the auction vehicles and the state operations, the next thing to grasp is where these auctions are held. Different bidding styles suit different investors. Some prefer to be in person. Some don't want to travel to the location to bid. So how do these auctions work? Well, a live auction is where the bidding takes place in person. And this happens a lot in Georgia, Texas, or North Carolina, as well as other states around the country. And the bidding is handled by a crier or an attorney that's representing their firm. They'll start the bidding, and they'll allow the present bidders to compete until the bidding stalls out, in which case the highest bidder wins the auction. An online auction is similar to a live auction. However, the bidders are remote and placing live or proxy bids on the property via the internet. A proxy bid is a preset high bid that allows the computer system to automatically increase your bid when surpassed by another competitor up to a certain dollar amount that you determined before the auction began. Now, you can update your proxy bid during the auction if you'd like to increase it, or you can also switch to manual or live bidding if you'd like. And lastly, a sealed bid. Now, this doesn't occur often, and it's when a bidder places a sealed bid, and when this happens, a bidder places a sealed bid, they're effectively mailing in their highest and best offer. So most of the time, the auctioneer will allow the room an opportunity to surpass this sealed bid, and if that occurs, the bidder whom placed the sealed bid doesn't have any opportunity to compete or increase their bid. So it doesn't really make a difference if you're bidding live or in person or interactively or whatever. The most important thing is to stick to your analysis and don't get emotional. Because we apply ourselves in a heavy fashion during the due diligence period, we're certain on our numbers and our percentages. And that's why we participate in auctions with a maximum bid in mind, and we do not exceed that threshold. Getting emotional and chasing these other bidders, that can and really probably will result in poor results and minimized returns. Well, how do you create the appropriate analysis? Well, I've created a cheat sheet, and I'm happy to share it with you. I use this for myself and my clients. Just let me know. Feel free to schedule a call with me, and I'd be happy to discuss this analysis process with you. You'll want to schedule this call to see how you can fortify your financial future. Take action by requesting an appointment. And I'm going to leave you with this.
Rollo May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a wonderful book called Man's Search for Himself. And in this book he says, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. And there you have the trouble today. It's conformity, people acting like everyone else without knowing why, without knowing where they're going. Now think of it. In America right now, there are over 18 million people 65 years of age and older. And most of them are broke. They're dependent on someone else for life's necessities.